We're going to start by opening our public hearing, and then Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes, thank you. Trustee Matthey.
Here.
Trustee Bolin.
Here.
Trustee Miller-Wambwe.
Here.
Trustee Emig.
Present.
Trustee Painter.
Here.
Trustee Carrillo.
Here.
Trustee Black.
Here.
Thank you. Trustee Crable.
Here.
Trustee Bray.
Here.
And Trustee Renner.
Here, thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to start with proposed fiscal year 2020/2021 budget amendment. And I want to start with what comments or discussion. Do we have anyone who is called in, Madam Clerk, for this?
We do not, Trustee Renner.
Okay. Are there any emails to announce?
There are not.
Okay. Council, oh, excuse me, at this point, not council. Trustees, questions, comments, thoughts, observations? I don't see anybody. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and declare the public hearing to be closed. Now, we have the regular agenda listed at 5:45. Does that mean we need to wait 13 minutes? I'm assuming we do.
We do.
We do. Okay. Alrighty. I just want to thank the trustees for their patience, and we will begin with this next riveting set of analyses and discussion and debate in just a few minutes. So, and thank you, Leslie, for reminding me that it was actually 5:30 rather than 5:45. I appreciate that. No
problem. And to clarify, I did not call him any names.
Yeah, that's important, I guess, these days. And if you did, it would be fine, you know. But I'm used to it. Everything's my fault. So thank you. We will wait again now 12 minutes.
Okay, I can take my nap now. You're
gonna nap in 12 minutes, dude? We need to get you a longer nap time.
Mboka noticed that in my background, I have a bed in my background, so he made. So I'm trying to get that.
We're all noticing it now.
Okay.
And he looks like he has a comfort pillow.
Yeah.
You got to have that, you know.
So is this the part where we just kind of look at each other? That's kind of awkward.
I think we could make faces at each other. You know, it wouldn't be terribly productive, but you know what Oh, I see that. Oh, Boca, you are not supposed to sink to the level of the mayor. Jeez, just because you're mayor pro tem.
Hey,
I'm just here for
what
Cody.
can I say?
That's who I'm here for.
You're my hero. I want to be just like you.
I have to say, Jeff, I'm not seeing you live, but that stern look of whatever it is that you have looking at us is like, really? I'm not sure what it's saying.
He looks scary.
It's like, I am ticked. Hear me roar. But we know what a sweet, wonderful pussycat you are. No comment. Okay, never mind. Okay, I was.
Thank you, man.
Trying to elicit
Much
something.
appreciated.
Never mind.
We were all muted. That's why.
Oh, I see. Just trying to fill in the dead time here. I shouldn't say dead time, but pregnant pauses.
You're doing great.
Thank you. I almost never hear that. Well, no, that's not totally true. At least after some of the shenanigans, I heard that, and I thought, okay, well, it really wasn't me. And it's like, I get credit for things I don't deserve, and then I get crap for things I don't deserve. That's life in the fast lane and the big bucks they pay us.
You're a big baller. You can take it.
At this point, it's like, okay, if you've had 20 grenades in your gut, it's like, what's the 21st? Or 22nd or whatever, 42nd. Okay, we have, just FYI, 8 whole minutes now of great dead time. Actually, I'm getting something to drink. I will be right back.
I was going to say, and it's really exciting for the public because we remain live through this wait time. So just a reminder.
Yeah, I feel like this could be a regular occurrence. It's like meeting, comedy show, intermission, roll into the next meeting.
If that's the mayor's comedy show, he should keep to his day job of being a professor.
See, Scott, that was your let it all out comment, right? I told Scott today he can just say anything he wants now.
It's always stopped me. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, this is Deb. Can you hear me okay? Yeah? Okay, good. I just want to check that for sure.
of America and to the republic for which
stands one
one
nation,
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Matthey,
Here.
Trustee Bolin,
Here.
Trustee Milawamboy,
Here.
Trustee Emig,
Here.
Trustee Painter,
Here.
did I hear? Okay, thank you. Trustee Carrillo,
Here.
Trustee Black,
here.
Trustee Crable,
Here.
Trustee Bray,
Here.
Trustee Renner.
Here, thank you very much. We have a quorum, and we're going to go ahead and move along to the consent agenda. Are there any of the items under number 4 that any of the trustees would like to have removed for separate consideration from the consent agenda? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved, Mayor.
Okay, moved by Trustee Matthey. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Emig. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Trustee Matthey,
Yes.
Trustee Bolin,
Yes.
Trustee Milawamboy,
Yes.
Trustee Emig,
Yes.
Trustee Emig.
She said yes.
Thank you. Trustee
Yes.
Painter,
Yes.
Trustee Painter, Trustee Carrillo,
Yes.
Trustee Black,
Yes.
Trustee Crable,
Yes.
Trustee Bray,
Yes.
Trustee Renner.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. There are no nays to announce, Madam Clerk. We will move right along to the fiscal year 2020/2021 amended budget ordinance. The recommendation is that the fiscal year amended budget be approved and passed. I'm going to start to ask to see if we do have, before I ask for discussion. Is there a motion either to approve or to disapprove, not to approve the budget as presented?
I'll move to approve.
Moved
Second.
by Trustee Craybill. Was there a second? I thought I heard a second, but I'm not sure.
Second.
Second by Trustee Black. Okay, discussion. We obviously did have a public hearing. There was no particular comments on that, but I don't see anything. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll? We have a motion and a second.
Trustee Matthey,
Yes.
Trustee Bolin,
Yes.
Trustee Milawambwe,
Yes.
Trustee Emig,
Yes.
Trustee Painter,
Yes.
Trustee Carrillo,
Yes.
Trustee Black,
Yes.
Trustee Crable,
Yes.
Trustee Bray,
Yes.
Trustee Renner.
Yes, thank you very much. Motion carries. There are no nays to announce, Madam Clerk. We move right along to the Community Emergency Response Program, CERP, CERP. And the recommendation is that the ordinance authorizing the creation and implementation of a CERP for eligible residents of the city of Bloomington Township be approved and passed. Let me ask to start out with if there is a motion and perhaps
I'll move.
I'll make that motion.
moved by Trustee Bolin, second by Trustee
I'll
Bray.
second that.
Oh, thank you. I saw the hand before you said anything. So we have motion by Trustee Bolin, seconded by Trustee Bray. Any discussion on this CERP, again, Community Emergency Response Program? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Matthey,
Yes.
Trustee Bolin,
Yes.
Trustee Milawambwe,
Yes.
Trustee Emig,
Yes.
Trustee Painter,
Yes.
Trustee Carrillo,
Yes.
Trustee Black,
Yes.
Trustee Crable,
Yes.
Trustee Bray,
Yes.
Trustee Renner.
Yes, thank you very much. There are no nays to announce, Madam Clerk. We move right along to our reports from our elected officials. We're going to start with Ms. Skillrood and then Mr. Scudder. Ms. Skillrood, you have the floor. Deb, I think you need to unmute yourself. Can anybody?
Okay, better?
Oh.
Sorry. Thank you. And thank you for passing or approving the CERP and the amended budget. I really don't have much more to say other than keeping up with statistics has been a little hard. I meant to get those out today, but needed to go out to work on the POTS recycle. So I do want to say that Township has been able to, Township's been able to serve a lot, potentially serve a lot of the people that are coming in. We have seen a little bit of a decline in COVID reasons. The reason being that hang on, I've got to think this through. We have seen less COVID related calls and applications at this point. And I don't know the reason why. I have discussed it with my staff to make sure that, well, they feel uncomfortable leading with that question, but if there's somebody that has a job loss or reduction in hours, they ask the reasons why that was, and so they get that. But other than that, there's no other additional responses to that. So we have seen the decline in that. We've also seen we've seen a little bit of an uptick in the amount of applications we're receiving. But again, I think that's just more general assistance, emergency assistance, and not as much COVID related at this point. So I will send those graphs out to you tomorrow. I just couldn't get it out today. All right. So do you have any questions for me on that?
Questions of Ms. Gilroy. Trustee Matthew.
Deb, do you think maybe that the partnership with the United Way is resulting in more people being aware of township and township programs than in the past?
Yes, that's probably true. It's nice to have the advertising, definitely. We have a small staff, and so advertising and marketing is not something that is our strong suit. So anytime we can partner with the city and partner with those other agencies, that's great.
And how would you say that that partnership, that holistic approach that everybody's working together to take that, how do you feel like that's going so far?
We've had a few hiccups, but I think all in all, those were bumps that we were going to have no matter what, because you're bringing so many agencies together. I think it's running very, very well now. And I feel that everyone's got their little niche in terms of where they're helping the individuals and families that come through. So at this point, we're still in that early stage and maybe not so much need because of LIHEAP still in existence, and they're not shutting people off, and they're still receiving unemployment. So we're not quite there yet. I think in another month, August, September is where we're going to get hit more.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Trustee Carrillo, and then Bray and Milawambwe.
Great. Hey, Deb. Thanks for this. And I just was curious if you could say out loud for folks who are maybe watching how exactly the CERP program is implemented. So like who's eligible, how people can go about seeking it. Just if you can give us like a quick summary of what that process looks like if I was a person watching and I was wanting to.
Yeah, I pulled up the eligibility criteria for this. They certainly have similar criteria, but it's a little bit more flexible. If the flexibility exists and is not approved by the board, it's the board's decision to make any changes and have an investment in this, because this is from the general town fund. And so I would expect the board to have more say in it. So the eligibility criteria that we have existing right now is that they be a resident of the city of Bloomington for 3 months from the date of the submission of the application, that they're under 200% of the income, they hold a government ID card or a valid driver's license, be financially unable to alleviate their issue due to COVID, and then they could have a work-related expense as well if they're getting back to work and they have a car issue. It must be 18, a couple other little things like that, dealing with families. So.
And are you able to, can you give us a rough estimate of what it means to be 200%?
Well, right now Township serves 100%. So it's going to be a little higher than the guideline was before to help more individuals through that program. I'm trying to see if I can find that.
Just to clarify, you mean 100% of the poverty level as opposed to 2% of the poverty level? Because often
100% federal poverty level.
5 is one of the magic numbers, but you go up to 200% of the poverty level.
So let me share with you a family of 4. Okay. The 200% federal poverty level is $52,400.
So you're saying up to that? That would
be for a family of 4.
Got it.
But it ranges based on the number of people in the household.
So the poverty level would be half of that, about $26,000 for a family of 4.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
Which almost 1 out of 8 Americans lives under. It's amazing.
And then COVID affects a lot of different people than just the low poverty level. So
Sure.
Yeah, I think this is exactly what we were talking about folks who were going to fall through the cracks because they weren't low income enough to qualify for some of the existing programs. So like working poor folks, especially in this time. The other question I had was how this, we had a lot of conversations about whether Social Security numbers were needed. When we were talking about CDBG money at the city level, because that's federal money, they get to set the requirements. How does that apply to us here? And I guess I'll say that with the caveat that, from my understanding, and like having worked with immigrant populations a lot, and given that immigration law is volatile over the last couple of years, that's a nice way of putting it, that, you know, I personally wouldn't advise anybody that I know to like apply for government aid, any sort of government aid program, just because we don't know how that stuff might be taken into account when they seek a legal immigration status later on in their process. And so if there are other alternatives, they should seek those out first. But curious, like if somebody was really unable to find other help, would they qualify for this?
Well, the guidelines that I've set so far are flexible. That would have to be a board decision. I will not make that decision for the board. The board will have to determine how that will work.
And at what point do we make that decision, whether
if you want to change the eligibility criteria to account for that, then I'd need to know that from the board. You see what I'm saying? And
so the way that we approved it, that wasn't included in it.
It's flexible, but the guidelines, and it is flexible. I made it flexible, but I would need the board support on whether that be for those who are not receiving Social Security numbers or not.
So, and I mean, just for clarification, so if somebody showed up tomorrow, as soon as the program is up and running, and asked, I just want to get clear on whether they would be able to get the help, or whether we need to like take a vote somewhere.
Well, I'll tell you that as part of the coalition, we receive calls often, and we refer them to where they can get the help, and they're getting it successfully. We've had a number of people already receiving assistance. So I think that we've filled that gap already, and it's working well. So, but it's not with the township. We're referring them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the last question is, are we tracking that sort of information? I mean, I guess
we are tracking through Township that information. Okay. But we do not carry any information about a particular client and hold it. So
got it. Yeah, I would just be curious to know about what those numbers look like.
We're just helping. It's up to us to help everybody in our community. So we recognize that gap early on, and we're forwarding them and referring them to the right locations.
Got it.
Thank you. And I think it would be useful if, especially if you begin to become aware of people who have slipped through the cracks, that would be very useful.
Well, I'll tell you that. Thank you, Trustee Renner. I want to share with you in the documentation under my supervisor's report, if you look at how many people that have been EA or GA, there's also a spot that says where we referred others. And I believe I wrote 9 were referred to churches. So you can just know that number is being tracked.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Trustee Bray, and then Trustee Credo.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Supervisor Skillroot. I just wanted to thank you for your work with the Community Coalition, and for those who may not know, our Supervisor Skillroot has been acknowledged and greatly appreciated by the coalition in her work on the unified application. And I wanted to thank you for your work on that, because it talks about this very thing, the fact that there's one portal for entry into all the possibilities and the resources available to those out there. And this way, folks have an opportunity to work through the system in a more efficient manner. And you were instrumental in that. And I want to thank you for your efforts with that.
Thank you.
And we really appreciate that. And I think the community will benefit from that.
They will, and they have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Bray. Mm-hmm. Trustee Credo.
Yes, Deb. We talked today, and one of the things that people have expressed concern about is being able to get the documentation in to support their claim. And you talked to me about everything that your office is doing to try to help with that. Letting people, take pictures of documentation and submit. If you could talk just briefly about that.
Sure. It's always been a struggle for any applicant or recipient to turn in paperwork. It's the nature of the, gathering all that information. It can be quite cumbersome. And so we've done, first of all, by having the unified application that actually streamlines things amongst the different agencies. But similarly, with all the agencies, there's certain things that every applicant needs. So they need income verification, residency verification, and in some cases, asset verification, things like that. So we gather that information, but if they struggle to get it, we give them options, and we also work with the Illinois Department of Employment Security and DHS, and we call directly for our individuals who are struggling to get on the computer and provide information. We actually get that from the agencies themselves for them. So we're doing all that we can to speed up the process for them. Occasionally we will let something go, like for instance, if somebody had worked somewhere and their employer is not in the office until after COVID is done, we'll let that go and let that slide in terms of the employment verification. They do have their check stubs, their past check stubs, so we know that they did work there. So there are a couple things that we can just let slide for the purpose of serving them for COVID.
Thanks, Steph. Thanks for doing that. Your office for doing that. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. Any other questions of our township supervisor? Seeing none. Thank you, Deb. We're going to go ahead and move to Mr. Scudder. Steve, are you on the line?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we certainly can. Can you go ahead?
The report I gave was the tax codes for local municipalities throughout the county, and the comparison chart year over year that I presented before. Not much difference from year over year recently, but there is a slight increase in the city's rate at the tax code that I chose. Are there any questions on what they mean, or
questions about what they mean for Mr. Scudder? I don't see any. Steve, go ahead.
If there's no questions, there's nothing more to really say. It's just a comparison year over year that we're keeping track of and keeping you informed with.
Okay. No other questions? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Scudder. We really appreciate it. Appreciate what you do. At this point, we move to public comment. Madam Clerk, are there any, did anyone call in for public comment for Township?
No, Trustee Renner, no one called in, nor did we receive any emailed public comments. Okay.
At this point, is there a motion to adjourn? Oh, come on.
So moved.
I'll do it.
Okay. All right. So I say, man, shouldn't be a hard sell. Okay. Adjournment motion by Trustee Craybill. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Trustee Carrillo. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 You're adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Oh, look at Maboka. You got a great backdrop there. Thank you, Maboka. Bye.
What about mine?
Probably not.
Oh, yours is good too.